Three tomatoes are walking down the street. Papa tomato, mama tomato, and baby tomato.
Plain Ketchup presents.
Starring Lindsay Hinkle and Jamie Nelson.
So this is Plain Ketchup, is it? I prefer something with a little more kick.
Everybody's favorite condiment-themed entertainment podcast.
Put some hot sauce on my burrito, baby!
Hot sauce.
Nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog.
Welcome to Plain Ketchup Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Hinkle, and with me is my co-host, Jamie Nelson. Say hi to the nice people.
Hi, everybody. So, Lindsay, last week was Thanksgiving. What did you do for Thanksgiving?
Well, I went to my parents' house like I do every year. There were like 8 of us there. Some friends of the family, my grandma. And I always help my dad cook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's like, oh, you know, your sister's helping. You can just relax for a little bit. And I'm like, okay. So I sit down and I'm watching TV. And all of a sudden, Liv starts shouting. I look over and she's doing this weird little dance with her hands up in the air, just shouting gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand up and I look over and there's a flame licking out from under the pot on the stove. Now, we have an electric stove, so this should not be happening. So she just keeps dancing around and like, and my mom comes running out. She's like, oh my God, it's on fire. So they're both like standing in front of the fire, dancing.
It's like the rain dance.
Right, like somehow rain clouds are going to come into the first floor apartment on a 3-story building and just, you know, rain down and put out the fire. So anyways, my dad and I are just sitting in the living room watching this, and he's like, pour some salt on it. That'll put the fire out. So my mom gets out the salt shaker. Starts shaking it on the fire. And I just scream, what the hell are you trying to do? Season the damn thing? Get the actual thing of salt and pour it on. So eventually she does, and like, I mean, really the only way to describe what she and my sister were doing in front of this fire, do you remember playing The Sims?
Yeah.
You know how they would react when there was a fire?
Oh, I see.
They wouldn't like go out and be like, oh, I think I should call 911. You had to like click the phone 20 times and be like, no, bitch, you better call 911 before this whole shit like burns down, you know? I think my sister knew, my mom knew that, you know, the fire was bad.
Fire bad, tree pretty.
Yeah, like, I think that's about how far it went. So yeah, we got the fire under control. Thanksgiving was saved. I almost said Christmas was saved.
That too.
Although, yeah, Christmas would have been ruined if the house burned down.
So, Lindsay, who do we have in the waiting room?
Well, I believe today we have Wally Collins.
How are you, Wally?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking me.
So you just got back from Italy. You do a lot of traveling, don't you?
Yeah, I do a lot of traveling. Well, this was vacation. It was
Yep.
Celebrating my 10-year anniversary. And
Congratulations.
so, yeah, so I took my wife, treated her to Italy, Venice, Florence, Pisa, Rome. It was great.
Do you have any travel stories from this trip or other trips?
I remember I had to shoot a commercial in Spain. And part of the contract is when you travel overseas, you get first class. You ride first class. And so this is my first time flying internationally first class. And so I was so excited, you know, oh man. And it's like an 8-hour flight. I fell asleep.
Oh.
I woke up when the wheels hit the tarmac and hit the runway, and I woke up and I missed everything, you know, the food, you know, everything.
It was so comfy.
It was so comfy,
yeah.
exactly, you know, so that's the thought, you know,
Yeah.
one of travel's stories that come to my mind. So
You've done comedy abroad, right?
Yeah.
So have you done comedy abroad in non-English, like where English isn't their first language?
yeah.
Do you find that it translates well? I don't mean just like the language, like comedy, like concepts. Do you think that translates well? Do you tailor?
Yeah,
what
you have
do?
to. Oh, yeah, definitely. You have to tailor it. But it's all about the premise. It's actually about being relatable, and so you find subject matters that they can relate to, relationships, emotions, and things like that. And once the audience understands, you know, the kind of comic you are, then you can, you know, flourish in that area. So.
Protexting.com. What's the deal with texting and comedy? Explain that.
It's a great, you know, it was a great idea actually. I was approached by the owner of Protexting, and the director who wanted to advertise his company, the texting company. And they're trying to figure out what to do. They thought maybe I'd do like a man on the street kind of thing, whatever. So we had a meeting, and I said, you know what? Let's do something, a little different. Let's try to merge the two, comedy and texting. So we went back and forth, and we realized, why not do a comedy show where I'll do the setups of a joke, and then I would text the punchlines to the audience. So it gets that anticipation, and then you hear like this silence, and all of a sudden people turn their phones over, and they start busting out laughing because they're reading the.
I have a BlackBerry, so that just kind of shows you how ignorant I am of. So how does it go to everybody? How does
Oh, okay.
the technical
Well,
side work?
it's kind of technical, but I'll say it real quickly. So what happens is that when people get into the showroom, they text a number. They text to a number and say basically, I'm here, send me your text. And so the pro texting gets those phone numbers and said, okay, you're in this file or in this category that for the comedy show. And so whatever happens, you're gonna get whatever from the comedy show on your phone.
Okay, got it. Very nice.
Pretty
So
simple.
then do they spam you later? No.
No. In fact, they promised that
Okay.
they wouldn't do that to you, anything like
That's
that.
good.
So yeah, it's fine.
Excellent. Very cool. Here's a comedy question.
Yes.
If you could say anything to any comedian, living or dead, who and what?
Oh my God, that's such a great question. You know what's really interesting? The way my life has been, the comedians that I wanted to meet, I met them. And I got a chance to say what I wanted to say, So, but I would say like the ones, like George Carlin. I never met George Carlin. And I would say to him, thank you, for his talent. Cosby, I met Cosby, Franklin Ajay. A lot of people know Franklin Ajay. Now he's my favorite comedian, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted my style like his. It was just so smooth, And last year he came to New York, and I opened for him. And one of the greatest compliments from a comedian to another comedian is that they can repeat a joke or a punchline. So he repeated a punchline, and I was like, oh my God, my favorite comedian listened to my act, listened to my set.
Yeah.
So that's very, very cool. But that's such a great question. I really want to give you a good answer. Jerry Seinfeld, I met Jerry Seinfeld, and I chatted with him. Lenny Bruce, I would say to him, man, thank you, for doing it, for, having the cojones to say and be you, because that, he plowed away for, so to speak, free speech, and all that. So yeah, probably those who are dead, George Carlin and Lenny Bruce.
What other projects are you proud of?
I'll try to say this very quickly. I started a company. It's a lifestyles brand called You Never Know. So it's basically started my life. Before I got into stand-up comedy, I used to design buildings. I was in architecture. And my mom said to me, if you could be anything you want to be in the world, what would it be? And I said, I'd love to be an actor. And she said to me, why are you studying, or why are you designing buildings if you want to be an actor? And I said, well, I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts. And I said, no one famous ever came from Springfield, Massachusetts. And she said to me, you never know unless you try. And I was like, oh my God, she's so right. So I started doing stand-up, and I figured I could, parlay the stand-up into acting. Stand-up just took off, and I just loved that medium of entertaining, But I kept that mantra, you never know, and it's close into one word, you never know. And I'm happy because I have no regrets in my life, because everything I've done, I wanted to try, and I want to share that happiness. And the key to happiness is no regrets. So I used to pass out T-shirts at the end of my comedy sets, and then it kind of grew from there. And I started a whole product line with the logo of you never know and a door, meaning try. So then I started working with a marketing firm, and it became a website. I wrote a book, and now I have a publishing deal, a radio deal, and a TV deal now.
Wow.
But basically, it's all coming from, I want the world to be happy. And the key to happiness is having no regrets in your life. And people are like, what happens if I fail? Or, that's not the problem. Don't worry about that. The thing is that you try. That's where all the stories come from. Trying, So I want people to understand that you never know means try. And don't worry about succeeding or failing, because when you do succeed, well, I'll give you a perfect example. I do keynote speaking about you never know. And the example I say was when people travel, they go on a long journey. There's a long flight. Maybe there's like a layover, maybe, and finally they get to a destination. They'll shake the person's hand or hug them, whatever. What's the person to say to the person? How was your flight? Because they want to know. They're there. That doesn't make a difference. They want to know how you got there. How was it? And so that's what you never know means. Just go and do it. You have to go through it and tell your story.
Don't sleep all the way.
Don't sleep all the way. Yeah, exactly. But you know what's really creative? Right there, I can still tell the story. I went to Spain, whatever. But that's not the interesting part. I slept the whole way. So you never know. You never know. You have to try. No regrets.
Do you have any on-stage disaster stories?
Do I have disaster stories? Oh my God! You want to start with the A's? Jeez, there's so many disasters on stage. Someone had a seizure in the audience, and people thought they were laughing that hard to the point I had to stop the show. I was like, having a seizure. That was pretty awkward. A bachelorette party, someone threw up. Which is like the highest compliment I guess a comedian can have, someone vomiting, and it wasn't just this, it was this kind of thing.
No.
Yep. I remember I forgot a joke, and
halfway through it, or?
Yeah, it was one of those things where I did a real big build-up, and then I forgot how it went, and it was just so, oh my God, and it was just panic, and I was like, in my head, like, okay, don't panic, if you panic, it's gonna go away, this kind of like, so then I had to kind of readjust and make a joke about me not remembering my own act.
Was it something you'd said like a million times before? Was it kind of new? It was.
Yeah. Sometimes before, and it was like just, what I mean? And I was like, what? And it was like this whole thing of like, well, wait a minute, what happened? So the Apollo, my first time on the Apollo, getting booed.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but I did the second and third time and that went fine. But I don't know if that's a disaster, but that's definitely a wake up call.
Oh yeah.
There's so many fights. I had two women fighting. You shut up, no, you shut up, you shut up, and they attacked each other, and security didn't come and try to break it up. And I had to kind of break it up. Oh man,
never a dull day.
Never a dull day. When the first time, you'll love this one. When I first started doing comedy, I wanted to do comedy anywhere, and there's a stage, I'll go. So I got a call to do a show in this biker bar, and it was like on this little chiclet of a stage, and the spotlight was like an incandescent bulb, and it had like a microphone, it was like the little cord, I was like, and this guy in the audience wanted to heckle me. So he said a little heckle, and I topped him. And his friend's like, oh, he got you. So he figured he could do another one. And I topped him again. Like, oh. So he pretty much had nothing left, and so he dropped the N-word on me. That was his trump card or whatever. But it was so funny because my parents, basically raised me that I am not that. So that didn't affect me at all, because he thought I was going to get a reaction out of me. But it was more like, oh, you panicked, and so that's all you had left. And so I made a joke about that, and I gave him nothing. So I said, what else you got? What else you got that's going to scare me? And he pulled up his shirt, and he had a revolver, and he tapped his revolver like that. Oh. And then I said, okay, yep, that'll do it.
Where did you say this was?
In Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in Glastonbury, Connecticut. I never forget the city either. So yeah, there you go.
Yikes.
I have tons of disaster stories.
A warning to all comics.
Yes.
Heading in that direction.
yes. Don't go to Glastonbury to a biker bar.
You're a drummer, aren't you?
Oh, I started playing since I was in 8th grade, and I love jazz, and I played a lot of funk. I did studio work, session work. I traveled, in bands and things like that. I did it all in music, and I still play from time to time. I'll go into a studio and just work on my job. Once you're a musician and you really enjoy playing, you're always a musician. So I'm always working out different rhythm patterns and things like that. I play an African drum called djembe. I play that. And I started very young, and I became one of the youngest members of the New England Jazz Society.
Oh, wow.
Which is very, very cool because you basically become this member. And if there's a gig, you're in this pool, so to speak, and they'll call, we need a drummer, call call the kid, so I'm the kid. They want to do so. Yeah, I travel like off to New England, with these jazz dudes.
So how old were you to be the youngest?
Oh my God, I think I was just out of I was like 21, 22, I think. Yeah. So and everyone else is like they're 50s, 60s, 80s.
Sure,
You know? So
yeah.
that was really cool. So it was, yeah. So yeah, I love playing music.
Awesome. Do you have any other passions that you want to talk about? Things that are maybe not work related, things, stuff you like?
Okay, I'll tell you this. Men's fashions, men's clothing.
Okay.
I was really into men's clothing, and then it got to a point where I started studying the history of men's clothing, why men wear what they wear, you know, like ties and.
So why do they leave the bottom button unbuttoned? Why is that like fashionable?
Okay. Basically, it's just out of convenience, really. When you sit down, is that the jacket doesn't bunch up. You know what I mean? Or when you want to put your hand in your pocket, it doesn't just bunch up. But when you close the jacket, it's politeness, or it's rude to basically walk around with your jacket open. So it's known as that. So a lot of people why there's buttons on their sleeves of a suit. There's two theories with that. Back in the 15, 16, I guess 1700s, men they were very, very into fashion. They had ruffles here and there, and they had ruffles on their sleeves. But when they put a jacket on, the ruffles would get caught in the sleeves, and so they decided to put buttons there so they can pull their sleeves through the jacket, and so the ruffles would come through. And also people call them the surgeon sleeves. Back in the day of like 1800s, surgeons would unbutton their jacket and pull the sleeves up so they could work. So there's so many like the pleats. I didn't understand why men have pleats in their pants. And I just thought the theory I thought is that because men's pants, if you pull the belt tight enough, you start getting those pleats in the pants automatically. And I thought that was just a fashion trend. Actually, no, is that the pleats are there so when a man sits, it's not bunched, it's not tight there. It kind of like is a good place for his blessings to be comfortable.
Right.
So the pleats are there's a reason for the pleats. It's a thought out thing. So so men's fashion I really like colors. And
did you see Looper? The movie
Which
that
one?
just came out, Looper?
Yeah.
Where they like go onto the ties. Like,
Oh,
why are you wearing
it's
ties?
fashion.
Because it's on TV, which is copying other TV. Like, why are you wearing ties?
Why you wear that choker around your neck?
Yeah.
It's fashion. But ties. That's another thing. They really don't know how ties started. And
that's suspicious.
and I thought they were napkins. I thought they started as like bibs or whatever, and they got smaller. But no, ties were just kind of just to break up, the shirt, and for the longest time, three-piece suits were the clothing, and your shirt was considered underwear. And that's what I remember when the shirts collars would pop out back in the day. But that was you would buy those collars, and they had a crisp collar, and you put a tie on, whatever. And so if you showed your shirt, it means you're not you're not dressed.
Your shirt showing.
Right. Well, I can go on and on and on about events of a men's jacket, but so you asked me what other passions do I have?
That's good.
Men's,
I like
men's fashion. I'm very into.
Where can people find you online?
WaliCollins.com. WALI Collins COLLI, and that's one word. .com or Wali or you never know.com. YNEVANO.com. But if you go Wali actually, my nephew emailed me, actually texted me. He's kind of freaking out because he Googled me, and he goes, "Do you realize that if I just type in Google WALI in a space, you're the second person that comes up?"
Nice.
I'm like, whoa. So he goes, "You're like second in the world." He's like freaking out. "You're the second in the world, man." And I was like, that's pretty cool, So WALI with a space, and Wali Collins. I'm there.
The other one is just people misspelling the cartoon Wally.
Yeah, right. Oh, don't get me started about that. About the movie. Oh God.
And you tweet, and are you on Facebook? Or
I'm all there.
People can find you
Facebook and
everywhere?
I'm tweetable, Googleable. Yeah, I'm not far. You can get a hold of me.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to tell the listeners and viewers?
Buy my book. It's called The You Never Know Book of Encouragements. Let's see. You can see me on YouTube. And I think that's it. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
This has been Hot Sauce, brought to you by PlainKetchup.com. Please subscribe, rate, and comment on iTunes. Check back every week for a new celebrity guest interview or hilarious video. You may also want to subscribe to our video channel on YouTube.com/PlainKetchup. Sign up for our newsletter on PlainKetchup.com. Please like us on Facebook.com/PlainKetchup. And follow us on Twitter @PlainKetchup. Don't forget to support this project by buying Plain Ketchup swag at our Cafe Press store. Have a question? Email Jamie and Lindsay at gmail.com. That's JAIME and LINDSEY at gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay saucy.
Welcome to Plain Ketchup Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Hinkle, and with me is my co-host, Jamie Nelson. Say hi to the nice people.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, that was creepy.
That was my Mickey Mouse, I think. I didn't intend it.
Oh, good show.